Have you guys noticed that movies, TV shows, video games, they just don't hit the same anymore? Or that media that was once capable of igniting passionate emotion is transformed into mindless consumer content that we can barely pay attention to? Here's my take on it. Modern society has dumbed us down so that we are conditioned to accept a lower quality of media. Movies and video games don't particularly feel engaging anymore. There's very little of that magnetic pull that once pulled you in. And you can argue that we've grown up and we have real responsibilities now, but I remember back in the day having movies come out and being genuinely excited to go watch them. I remember being hyped for video games to the point of doing online research about the gameplay mechanics. But modern games don't really have that same spark about them. And the movie industry, I've never really been a TV guy, but TV as well kind of has lost that spark as well. I think a big part of this is people are waking up to how a lot of media is indoctrination and propaganda. They push ideas onto you. They make unrealistic scenarios seem more appealing, although what is really happening is false expectations are being created for reality. I mean, you can observe patterns from modern media, like Game of Thrones. The ending was absolutely horrible. You can argue the last few seasons were horrible because they had no source material to go off of, but this franchise was a global phenomenon, and it really kind of scarred people who were not really into television, but they ended up becoming fans of the series because of how intriguing the narrative was. And oh my god, it was just something that left a really sour taste in the mouths of people who invested so much of their time into being fans of the series. The Last of Us is another example. They make you play, and spoiler alert for the second game, but they make you play as a arguably trans woman. I don't know. I think the official narrative is that she's actually like a biological female, but she hits the gym more than I do. They made us play half the game as a character who killed someone we spent the entire first game bonding to, and then all of a sudden they try and make us like her. Anyway, that killed a classic for the PlayStation, and we can't really see a recovery from that. The last episodes of Star Wars, you can argue 7 was decent. I enjoyed 7. Episode 7 was alright. But 8 and 9, I remember I saw 9 in theaters, and I was shocked at how horrible it was. And luckily I went home, and the consensus online was pretty much the same. I thought I was losing my mind, like my brain had been fried and I'm not able to enjoy movies or anything or something anymore. But no, they were genuinely just horrible. And hyper fans of this franchise, Star Wars is one of the most beloved media franchises of all time. They try to defend it and they still watch the spin-offs, and that's fine. I think that some people are just in denial that once a media franchise is killed, there's not much that can be done to revive it. It's always going to taint the legacy. I think one of the 48 laws of power is reputation is everything, protect it at all costs. And I think that goes especially for major corporations making fictional worlds and stories, because people are simple, but narratives are complex. And I think that goes to show how we understand how to grab the individual attention of a person, but we don't know how to compose genuinely striking stories anymore as writers and as people who create art. I mean, most modern shows are literally designed so that someone can use their phone simultaneously. They have to design them these ways because they know their main audience is boomers who got off of work and are now playing this in the background while they do their chores. But it goes to show that their modern TV, at the very least, is not really focusing on narrative storytelling as much as it is on focusing on whether or not this is something that people tune into. Plot armor is another fairly cheap tool that is commonly used. It should be rarely used, but of course, for movies such as like Captain America or superhero movies in general, like Spider-Man, you know that these characters are going to survive till the end of the movie because it's their movie, right? And fair enough, that's awesome because we know that more action is coming. But when you get the sense that all generic and side supporting characters are going to survive no matter the circumstances, it really takes the stakes away from the overall experience. I think that people fell in love with Game of Thrones is because there was no plot armor until the 7th and 8th season. They killed the main protagonist in the first season, and then they killed the main protagonist again in the 4th season with the Red Wedding. And shows don't really take these bold directions anymore because it requires such complex narrative writing that most writers can't be bothered. They would rather create consumer slop that they know people are going to pay attention to because there's a big action story. People play mobile games like Clash of Clans. I remember I was working a job and I was playing Clash of Clans a few years ago, and I spent $1 on gems or something in the game, and I still regret it to this day. It's like one of the worst memories I have. My biggest regrets in life is actually spending $1 on a mobile game. Yeah, these games don't really have an end goal, and this is something that sports games and the new Call of Duty are guilty of as well. These games don't have a goal, but they still somehow manage to give you a sense of progression by allowing you to unlock things, and it really keeps you in a loop where they develop core, like, strong diehard fans and communities online. People play like NBA 2K online. I know a lot of YouTubers do, but they have these core audiences that will just stay loyal to these franchises. Like sports games, I don't know how there's still an audience for sports games. It is the same thing every year. You can argue, I played a lot of Call of Duty when I was a kid, like MW3, Black Ops 2 is the best Call of Duty ever made, but you cannot say that they are being innovative with every release because that would just be factually false. They are repackaging the same content over and over and over again, and people are looking for ways to kill their time instead of investing in something that is actually intriguing and has depth behind it. There's a lot of female empowerment going on, which makes games very unrealistic and corny. The new Tomb Raider series was pretty good. I enjoyed that. But again, that's just like a woman with a bow and arrow, right? Her power is accuracy. That's not really unrealistic. Any human can be more accurate with a weapon. But when you see these, like She-Hulk, for instance, what was the point of She-Hulk? Oh my god. And again, I think people hate a little too much on modern movies and games because they are bad, but at least technologically, we've improved. Movies are crystal clear, gaming graphics are better than ever, but these should be tools that enhance the fact that the content itself is actually good. They shouldn't be the selling point because it becomes a technological showcase, and this is the point of the video, is that you're not really enjoying a PlayStation 5 game anymore because it's actually good, but you're enjoying it because the gameplay is kind of engaging enough to keep you playing, and the graphics are like, wow, this looks incredible. And people can walk by the screen and they'll probably think, wow, this person's having an amazing time. But in reality, you're just kind of pressing buttons on a controller because there's nothing there anymore that is anchoring you to care or be invested in this story. Everyone has TikTok brain. You know, luckily I don't have TikTok. I'll never download TikTok. I think it's a scourge on society. But yeah, everyone is consuming short form content, therefore, how the hell can they focus on anything? I mean, the concept of cinematic masterpieces were a fairly new concept not too long ago. Cinematic masterpieces were a fairly new concept just about half a century ago. So our parents' generation saw amazing movies and it really stuck with them because it was something very enjoyable. But now, modern cinema is trying to rechase that high, which is why remakes and reboots are so prevalent. We already know that movies are good. We're not interested in seeing anything that's bad anymore. So instead of writing an original, extremely compelling narrative, we just take one from a few decades ago because it ties into nostalgia, which I will talk about very soon. Games mimic a sense of progression for men, and dramas mimic a sense of thrill for women. Both of these feelings have been stripped largely by modern society, so it makes sense that people would engage in these methods of escapism, although it's fairly unhealthy because shows are very much manipulating our gender psychology in order to loop us and keep us hooked with what they know we have a deep desire for. Everything is over-sexualized. Movies and games have woke propaganda now. I mean, there's always been propaganda in movies, but yeah, they're trying to make you feel that sexual thrill because they know mass consumers of content may not have the most exciting sexual lives, so they try and place these ideas within you and let them sit so that maybe, just maybe, and again, I'm not saying these industries are connected, but maybe you'll search up www.pornhub later into your computer, right? But I think the fact that modern media is so trash is a great opportunity to abandon escapism. If we're not distracted by the bread and circuses, we can rebuild for better living conditions. I mean, you used to buy a game for $60 and you would pop it in and it would literally be playable right then and there. You didn't have to wait for half an hour for an update patch or anything. You could literally just put it in your PlayStation 3 and you're ready to play. Now you spend $100, but you're waiting for a download screen for half the day before you can even cash in on your investment. Like I said, short form social media content has made people much too numb to commit to a full TV series or even just a movie, which is quite surreal. I mean, people can't sit still and just watch something for an hour. It goes to show that we've done a lot of damage to our brains. This is why studios are heavily relying on manipulating nostalgia. They know sequels will do well. They know we live in an attention economy. They design for things to be clipped, for content to be made around their piece of media. And fair enough, it's keeping up with the times type thing. But I think it's a little bit ridiculous to assume that this is healthy for creating compelling structures in media. You used to buy CDs for music albums. You used to buy CDs, actual discs for games and movies too. Now it's all just digital. And when you take away the physical ownership of a piece of media, it really takes away from the art of it because it's just something convenient on your phone or on your Netflix account now. It's not an actual tangible piece of identity that you have with you. I mean, you literally have Netflix on your phone now. So, there's not much going on in terms of art being art. It's really just movies have become content now. I remember going to Blockbuster when I was a little kid. Where is the time gone, man? I remember seeing Journey to the Center of the Earth with my parents. That was fun. It was a good movie night, movie experience. Something we're probably not really having anymore with modern families. You just kind of turn the TV on with your family and you guys pick something on the screen, which is convenient, but there's much less connection. Like I said, this is why modern media is soulless, because families aren't really bonding over something where they just picked something on a screen, if that makes sense. I mean, cinema has historically been used for Nazi propaganda. And fair enough, I don't think anybody's denying the fact that movies largely contain political, weaponized propaganda. But a lot of people will deny that fact, and I would argue, what makes you think anything has changed from the World War II era? I guess a lot, but in terms of media, things tend to stay the same. And if they want us to believe an ideology, they will slowly creep it into media to make us susceptible to it. This is part of a stronger divide and conquer tactic that I will make a video about soon. But yeah, movies suck now, man. I don't remember the last time I went to the theater, and I don't think anybody really even would go to the theater anymore unless they're trying to like mac on a girl or something. Satisfying endings boost mood and optimism, yet everything is still trying to be cool and edgy. Further research shows that happy endings boost emotional control and empathy, but yet they leave you on a cliffhanger so they can cash in on a sequel. I'm not saying every movie has to have a happy ending. Fair enough, the genre tragedy exists in plays because not all stories in life in general have happy endings. It's realistic to portray this side of humanity. But I mean, for God's sake, man, can we get something without an ending that is trying to set something else up or is trying to make you ask a deep philosophical question? And that may kind of go against the topic of this video, but I'm just saying, like, you don't need something tragic or a sense of what next, what's happening afterwards to create a compelling narrative. It always comes from the actual content and characters of the story and the journey. In my opinion, 90% of TV viewers are using their phone at the same time. Ads on TV have QR codes now. Just goes to show we can't put our phones down. And fair enough, everyone in the modern world, everyone has their phone on them at all times. That's okay, we can accept that. But if you can't put your phone down to focus on another screen, then is the other screen even necessary? Because it's pretty much just cannon fodder in the background at this point, right? You're getting a very small level of neural activation from this other stimulus. And if a TV show can't keep you engaged, why is it worth a fraction of your life? Why is it worth spending time on? I don't know. I've never been a TV guy, so I can't answer these questions. I just know that what we have as modern television is very backwards compared to the direction we should be heading towards as society, in my opinion. The reason all these forms of media are so bad now is because no one can focus on slow-paced content. But the problem is, anything that is a narrative masterpiece, anything in life in general that is worth doing, typically isn't hyper stimulating. So people aren't getting that failure through learning experience in real life, if that makes sense. I genuinely believe it translates to real life because movies, and if you watch kids shows, they used to teach these lessons, but they don't anymore because that's not really what gets clipped on social media. If you're gonna succeed, you have to fail. You try 100 times, you could fail 90 times. That's 90% of the time. But you're telling me you don't think you're capable of succeeding 10% of the time? Those 10 wins could set you up for life. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. Microtransactions are bleeding into AAA games now. I mean, a new game is literally $100. Everything is designed to make you spend. I'm pretty sure a movie ticket is like $30 now or something, man. It used to be like $15 when I was a kid. And I never really liked DLC, but I get why they do it. But essentially, after I buy a game or a movie online, it's mine, and I'm not freaking spending any more money than I need to, bro. You know what I mean? Something documented by research is when a person is on their phone and watching TV at the same time, the negative stimulus almost always grabs the attention of the person. You know, the same way how social media algorithms mainly promote negative content because it gets more reaction. It's the same principle with TV and I guess even movies now. They know that people are going to be on their phones, so they have to make sure that there's always something shocking or negative going on so that people, you know, kind of jump up and look at the screen like what's going on. But yeah, when there's thrilling things going on just for the sake of keeping attention, this can derail a story and make it feel like a piece of content rather than something that is trying to convey a deeper message. A lot of our generation is feeling a collective news fatigue in which they believe all news is negative. I surely feel that, for sure. And I'm sure a lot of people out there agree with me that it is quite prevalent that it seems like people are hyper negative these days, and hate seems to be one of the favorite subjects of people, which is a shame because we're such a beautiful species and there's so much more to life than focusing on the ugly. That's really all that modern news is. I mean, have you guys seen what most news channels did during the pandemic? The amount of criticism and scrutiny, the fact that anybody would ever reliably use mainstream news as a reliable source of information and not just something that is trying to politically indoctrinate you That goes beyond me. Do not trust what you see on the news. That's all I'm gonna say. If you're a guy out there, I want to tell you, bro, be careful of GTA 6. Video games, like I stated earlier, they fulfill that core need of achievement by giving you a false sense of progression. So, I mean, if GTA really lives up to the hype, it could suck weeks away from people. And in the modern age, there's no time to waste anymore. It seems like either you're someone who's being productive the majority of the time, or you're someone who has accepted a much bleaker outlook on life and you have completely given up. Which, if you're watching this, I want you to know there's always hope, man. Don't give up, ever. Female audiences tend to develop parasocial relationships and use TV dramas to substitute for real social contact when they are feeling lonely. And when women begin to feel the need to withdraw from society, that's when things start becoming problematic. Because if they can simulate social interaction, women cannot be alone. This isn't mainstream research or anything. This is just like an objective, because I've grown up with women. This is just an objective reality that you can face as a man if you're not afraid to speak on women. If they can stimulate social interaction just like men can through social, not only parasocial relationships by investing in fictional characters, but also social media, it becomes a rather bleak society. And again, I'm getting off topic. I don't want to make this a societal commentary. I don't want to make this video too serious, more so just kind of shitting on the current state of entertainment. But yeah, men are neutered of their desire to accomplish, and females are stripped of their desire to connect. This greatly disturbs society because these are fundamental feelings that kind of shape our whole gender dynamics, if that makes sense. If they're able to be stimulated, not much of prevalence or significance is going to be done within their personal development or their contribution to society as a whole. I mean, they gave us a Black, the Little Mermaid. DEI is not just in the workplace anymore. It is in Hollywood, very clearly. And again, my parents are immigrants. I have nothing against anybody of any. I think if you're genuinely racist or sub IQ, right? You definitely have double-digit IQ, but also you should die. Yeah, 2 billion. I'll leave it like this: like 2 billionaires don't care if one of the billionaires is Black and one of them is white. 2 billionaires are only focused on talking about one thing. But anyway, this leads me back to the remake epidemic. Nostalgia makes brands feel safe. Nostalgia reduces loneliness by making you feel like you belong. It makes brands and content feel familiar, which makes you trigger happy with your wallet. Companies research your childhood memories to make you want to spend money. So yeah, you might think that they're doing remakes as a service to fans and audiences, but it's really just a cash grab. It's a marketing tactic. Instead of coming up with an original, like I said earlier, an original compelling narrative, it is much easier to just recycle content and rake in as much cash as you can. They have essentially built a artificial version of you, which knows you very well and keeps the algorithm fairly efficient in guessing what you would like to see. A good metaphor is that remakes and reboots are the clickbait of the gaming and movie industries. If you see a higher quality version of something you've seen years ago, of course you're going to look further into it because you want to see how this has evolved from who you were back then compared to now. You used to have a CD collection with your favorite artists. Now it's a playlist with a bunch of random songs from random albums. So you're not developing a connection to artists anymore. The music industry has definitely suffered from this. It's all about streams. All you want now, you have a playlist of bangers, and fair enough, times evolve, things change. But like I said, there's much less connection because music is about connection at the end of the day. Yeah, you can talk about societal issues in music. You can talk about bigger things and just connecting with people. All these big issues that you can talk about in songs stem largely from the connection of humans between each other. Everything is becoming subscription based. So we have hyper packaged, stimulating dopamine. Nothing is really designed to satisfy anymore. It's just designed to keep you consuming. And that sums up the problem with media today. We live in a world where there is more and more information and less meaning. John Baudrillard. So what can we take away from this? Convenience has made art much less valuable. Commercialization takes away from media and focuses on grabbing attention. Keeping both of these points in mind, it's no wonder that things don't hit the same anymore, that we can't really find satiation with what is being doled out to the masses. And like I stated a little earlier in this video, I think this is a great opportunity to stop participating in consumer slop, to build something real, to chase your dreams. If you want to get cliche about it, that's what it is. That's how I feel. And I believe everyone out there should come to the realization that we support these franchises with our wallets. Every time someone buys the new Call of Duty, every time someone buys the same sports game every year, the system is winning. Every time we go see the Lilo and Stitch remake because we watched the original movie when we were kids, we're losing and they're winning. We need to retake our attention. Now, I'm a human being, so I have nostalgia just like you guys, but the difference is I'm aware. So I won't let them suck me back in to... Now, I might play GTA 6. I don't plan on playing it this year, because this year I'm really focused on myself and my message and my art, and I think a lot of people should be, but maybe I won't want to play GTA 6 by the end of the year. Maybe I'll evolve past a point of consumerism, and I think it's a good thing that media feels soulless now, because we can start connecting with our actual souls again, and we can stop finding ways to escape. Because here's the real question. If everything is designed for attention, what happens to the things that actually deserve it? I don't want to toot my own horn, but you could argue this video has a stronger core message than 90% of short form content that you scroll through on Reels. But again, I'm not judging you, and maybe I'm completely wrong. Our attention is being siphoned, undoubtedly. We live in an attention economy. That's something you've probably heard before. I think it's too simple to say we just need to reclaim our attention, but we need to stop supporting these franchises. We need to stop supporting all these movies, all these games that are really just kind of manipulating us at this point. It's the circuses, bread and circuses. I think everybody knows fast food is bad for you. I think people are becoming more health conscious. They have to, because of how looks focused this world is. I've been trying to eat healthier recently. You can spend your time on these mindless distractions, but they're not even satisfying anymore, bro. So we might as well stop supporting these media franchises that clearly are not catering to their fan bases. And what we can do instead is find ways to innovate and reach excellence within ourselves. And I think that is a better contribution to society than hoping and sitting around and waiting for gaming to be fun again, or for movies to actually be entertaining again. That's just my thoughts on it. Like and subscribe. It takes you 2 seconds, but helps me out more than you can imagine. Love you guys.